Well, greetings, students. It's good to be with you. Today we are going to get started in some machining operations, drilling and tapping mainly, in Mastercam. There'll be two videos we will do. The first one is going to be the very first thing that we worked on with a spree cam. So we're going to get right to it, and you'll have to hit open here, go to your files. So wherever that is in your computer, go to your files and go into CNC1 2025 students and go into whole operations, and then your first one is going to be the lab 1, which is called mounting plate. If you want to rename that, you can, but we're going to go into that right now. I'm going to open this up. You're going to always get this system message here: the text true type R font cannot be found on your computer. Just ignore this and just hit the green check mark, which of course we have come to understand means OK. And then you'll see the drilling exercise mounting plate here. In Mastercam, it's a little bit different in the way that you separate your geometry from your dimensions. In this particular case, you're going to be using some of these toolbars down here. You have tool paths, which is what I have up right here. You have solids, which is working with solids. And then you have planes, and then you have levels. The levels is the one we're going to be zeroing in on here. And if you notice here to the left, I have under layer or level 1. By the way, there is a difference. There's no difference between level and layer. Mastercam uses level for some reason, and SpreeCam uses layer, and so does all the other drafting softwares out there. They call them layers. So I'm not sure why they went to levels, but at any rate, the word level means layer. So we have under the first level here, /layer, we have 27 entities, okay? And under default, we have 48. And we have under template, 78. So what this means is that you have entities scattered throughout 1, 2, 3 different layers or levels. And we want to combine them all and put them all into one level like we did with a spree cam. We simply grabbed everything and moved it to the geometry layer, and then we separated the geometry from the dimensions afterwards. And we're going to do exactly the same thing here, but only the way Mastercam wants us to do it. Up here, if you notice, you have the name. The level name is 0 here. We can change that level name by basically just right-clicking and say rename. And then it's going to ask you to go ahead and put in there. So I'm going to put geometry in here. And I'm going to click off of that. And now that is called geometry. And then the second one, I'm going to rename that dimensions. And then the other two we're going to get rid of later after we combine everything. So I want to combine everything that I have here in the geometry layer. So I'm going to grab everything that's here with a box by left-clicking and holding the left-click button down, and then click it again once you grab everything in that box. So now everything is selected here or grouped. And then I go up here basically to home, and you'll notice that in the home bar here there is what's called change level. Okay? So I'm going to left click on that, and it's going to say change levels. The operation is to be moving everything, not copying. Make sure you don't copy this to the geometry level, because then you'll have 2 copies of it. You want to activate move only. And it says use active level. The active level right now, if you look at this, the green check mark is on geometry, so it's where it needs to be. And the name is geometry here, so all we have to do is say OK. And everything then moves right up here to the geometry level. You'll see it says 153, right? So there's 153 elements now under this level of geometry. At this point now, we are able to move the dimensions now and our template into that dimensions level. So I'm going to go and say, I'm going to collect everything. Oh, by the way, before we even do that though, I want to make sure that I make dimensions active. We had geometry active, so I'm going to double click on this little box here, and then my green check mark makes this active. So now up here, dimensions is active up here as well, as you can see. So now I can go in here and I can collect all of the dimensions, and that's what you should do right now. You can collect the positions too, just collect everything. You have to be careful that you pick the right stuff. If you have to zoom in on it with your wheel, do so you collect the right things here. And then we'll collect the template itself, so I can actually hold my left key down and I can scroll across and then left click again and pick up those. And then I can individually pick up these lines. And looks like I pretty much have everything. So now what I want to do is I want to go back to home position again, and I want to pick up this little icon, change level. It's already set to dimensions. And I want to move everything there that I've collected, okay? And so I just need to now hit OK. And then you will see now that I have collected 118 entities under dimensions, and I still have 35 left in and under geometry. All right, so how to get these things, I'm going to double click on this box and make geometry active again. And you see that it highlights it. And you have this little eyeball here, okay? Level visibility. So if I click on that, you see that it picks the geometry, right? If I want to make this active here, the dimensions, or get them to disappear, I'm going to click on this. When I click on that, you can see that there's a line now underneath this arch here, which means that you can't see the dimensions anymore, which is okay because we're going to need to do that later. But right now, just so you know, you can make this visible, right? Or you can make it disappear just by simply doing this. Also here you have these three dots. You can actually physically say make active, renumber, group, select all entities. I mean, these are options underneath those three dots, right? Same with this one, has the same options. So just so you get familiar with this. And what I want to do right now is I want to create my 0 point at the lower left hand corner. So I want everything to be visible right now. I want my geometry and my dimensions to be visible in order to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my transform category up here, and I'm going to say move to origin. Left click on that and it picks everything, and then it's saying select the point to transport from. So you come down here and you pick this point right at the lower left click on it, and you say, oh my gosh, it left, it disappeared. No problem, just right click out in here in the screen and say fit, and it will come back in. What it means is the Cartesian coordinate was way out there. It's world coordinates when they draw these things, and so once I hit fit, it brings everything in with my Mastercam Cartesian coordinate right here at the lower left hand corner where I want it. And you say, well, why did everything turn pink? Okay, that is just, in my opinion, a pesky thing that Mastercam did. I'm sure they have their reasonings, but in order to get the colors back, I'm going to draw a box, left click, hold it down, draw a box around this, and I'm going to right click up here and I'm going to go to clear colors. You see there's this drop down, okay? And you hit clear colors and everything will go back to white again. Now at this point we have two layers here that are of no value to us. So I'm going to delete them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this one, hold my control key down and click on that one so I get both of these. Then I'm going to right click and this comes up again and I'm going to say, I'm going to look to delete these entities. So down here we see delete and you see a side box over here which says delete the selected levels. So I've selected two of them, so I'm going to click on that and they will disappear. So now they're gone and now we have the two that we really truly need for our machining operations. So at this point we're basically done with getting our layers where they should be. There are going to be times where you're going to want to get rid of the dimensions momentarily. You may have to go back in to get sizes and stuff from time to time, and at any time you can come down here to levels and make that happen. But I'm going to go back to toolpaths, okay, which has all of our toolpaths and information here. And so this is like our operations page in Esprit. So we're going to go ahead now and we're going to begin to get ready to make this into a machining operation. The first thing we have to do is go to machine though, right? And you'll click on machine and then you'll come over here to mill because it will be a milling operation. Click on this little arrow here and pick default. And then you'll see that a menu comes up here of some items. If you expand this plus here, you'll see that you have these things here that you will have to answer questions for, okay? So at this point, Mastercam knows that we're going to be doing a milling operation. So it has given us these categories that we need to fill out. This is kind of like the technology page that you would get in Esprit CAM. The first one I'm going to click is machine. And you see that our part disappears momentarily. It'll come back. But in here, under this category, there's just a couple things we need to look at. Description, mill default, file, mill default. So it's a mill default for the post processor we're picking here. And these other things are all default. We don't have to touch them. Down here we have what's called numerical control output. We want to be able to operation comments. We want to be able to put comments in when we need to. We do not have a machine name because we're not looking at the whole machine. We don't have a group name or group comments, so we can bypass that. However, the program number is another thing. So you can put 100 in there or something for your program number, and then your sequence numbers are next. So default is start with 100. I like to start with 10. And every increment will be 10. So N10, N20, N30, and so on. And then we go to the next category, and our part comes back where it says this is our master model. And here you can put in the material that you're using, not that it's going to change anything because it won't, but you can put that in here if you want to. There's really nothing here for us to do at this point. We don't have a volume or a weight because we haven't made a simulation solid out of this yet, but it will eventually. The next thing is the stock, which is about the most important part of this whole operation to get everything set for machining. In this section, you will see that I have chosen create rectangle, okay? And now it's looking for me to select the items that create that rectangle. So it'd be this one. I'm left clicking each time here. And when I click all those on the periphery, I'm going to say end selection. And then you're going to see that it has an origin that it has come up with it by itself, which is unimportant to us. But we will see the real true length and width. The length is 4. The width is 2, as you see here, 4 and 2. And we need to put a height on there. According to what I'm seeing right now, I'm looking at making this a half inch, or not a half inch, but I'll go back into levels here, just make sure that I know which ones are which here. I believe this is 1/2 inch, and it is. So now I can go back to tool paths, and I can go in here and make sure that I have this set to that. I'm going to go here and I'm going to make this isometric, and I'm going to go back to stock setup, and I'm going to put in here 0.5. And it's important to understand this matter of push-pull. This category right here called push-pull is what's going to give you your volume, whether you go up or you go down or you go half each way. They give you those options here. It's going to be incremental, and we want to not go both directions, so you don't want to check this off. You just want to go on a plus or a minus. Okay, so in this case we're going to put 0.5 in here, and we're going to come out here, and you will see that it drops it down, and the top of our part here still shows our geometry. Okay, and now because we have gotten this and we have created a simulation solid around our piece, we're going to hit the green check mark and finish this out. And you say, oh my goodness, I lost it. Actually, no. Under File here, you have what's called Stock Display up here. Click on that and click on Stock Shading. But before I do, I'm going to put this in isometric, and you can see that you have volume here now, right? But it's in the form of red lines. If you want to see the shading, you click on this and it becomes shaded, which is what I like to have. I like to use the shaded so I can see if I'm machining into the part and how deep I'm going and so on. So okay, so that's done. Again, on levels, we could go ahead and we could make the dimensions visible if we want to, or we can make them disappear. Right now I'm going to just leave them disappeared so that we can start doing our tools and get to the actual machining operations. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I want to create some tools. So if I look in the levels, I'm seeing that I have some 1/4 inch holes, 6 of them, and I have 2 1/2 inch holes. So let's go back then and just make this disappear, and we know that these are all 1/4 and these are 1/2. So we're going to need a center drill, we're going to need a 1/4 inch jobber's length drill, and we're going to need a 1/2 inch jobber's length drill. So let's go ahead then and get those created. Up here you have what's called the tool manager. The tool manager is where you have a bifolded area where you can move tools from the bottom and drag them up to the top to make them active. So the first thing we have to do is go in here to the tool filter and the library. Let me get out of that for a second. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to click on tool filter, and you notice that everything is highlighted here. I don't need all those tools, so I'm going to say none, and I'm going to choose the center drill and just highlight that one and hit OK. Now I should be able to see the tools if I click on tools. You have assemblies, tools, and holders. The only one you're going to need is tools, and it shows here a list of all the center drills. So we're going to look for a number 3 center drill here, and right there it is, and I'm going to left click and hold it down and drag it up here and place it right there. But we also said we need to have a 1/4 inch jobber's length drill, so we'll go back to the tool filter. We're going to say none here to make them all disappear, and we're going to look for a drill category, and there it is, and we're going to hit OK, and then you'll see a list of drills coming up. And so what we're going to be looking for here is a 1/4 inch drill. So I can drag this down, look at the dimensions here, and look for a 250, and I see here a 1/4 inch or 0.25, and I'm going to drag that up here and place it right there next to the other one. The last one I want to look for is a 1/2 inch, and since we're already in drill category, we're just going to scroll down here and pick up 1/2 inch drill and drag that up and put it right there. So now we need to change the tool numbers here. You notice we have a tool 8, 124, 162. This is common. You're going to get weirdo numbers in there. You're going to have to change this. So we have to go back in here, just like we did with the spree. We had to pick a tool and then make sure we had everything the way it should be so we can get it to act correctly when we're doing the machining operations. So I'm going to double click on center, and you'll notice that a center drill comes up. The next thing that happens is you look here and you get a category here, and they have the tools listed here. So there's going to be a whole bunch of center drills listed here, and we're going to look for a number 3. So I'm going to click on the number 3, and you're going to get this all the time. Changing the standard size overwrites tool geometry. There's a lot of alarms, or let's say messages, that a Mastercam gives you. So just say no, that you don't want to continue, and it'll keep this highlighted down here. So a number 3 center drill is actually a dimension for you right here. For instance, the drill diameter is 109, all right? So if I scroll down here to the drill diameter, you see it's the bottom here, 109. If you continue to scroll through here, you have the drill length, overall length, which is 2 inches. All right, and so if I go down here and look for overall length, it says 2 inches. And what they have done, Mastercam, their engineers have done is taken these tools out, measured them, and put the values in here so that you don't have to go out to the shop and grab a center drill or grab a drill and find out what it actually looks like and what its dimensions are, which is a good benefit. It's a lot better than what a spree does. And then we have the 118 degree, which is there for you, and the 60 degree included up here. So actually everything now is looking good there, but we remember the number of that drill, of that center drill, was incorrect. So if you click on the first category tool, you'll see that the tool number is 8. We want to make this number 1. And then when you click on length offset and diameter offset, it puts those values in because you want the length, HO1, to be active as number 1, and you want diameter offset to be number 1. You don't have any head or anything in here. You want to hit US units, and then that's done. Now, the last category that we have to be concerned with is actually our feeds and speeds. So what we'll do is we'll go into parameters here, and I start at the bottom here under material of the tool, and I'm going to put in here high speed steel. Then I'm going to select a spindle speed of 2000, and the retract, which is when after you've drilled the first hole, your retract speed is going to be 50 inches a minute to get it out of there, right? And then the plunge rate is when you come down with the tool and comes 100 thousandths off the face of the part. That's what's called the plunge rate. And so I'm going to make that like 18. Point. And then my feed rate now is the most important thing, and I'm going to put in here 20 inches a minute, so 20 point, okay? And this down here is not going to be of any value to you right now, so I think we pretty much covered everything. This right here is coolant, but we'll be dealing with the coolant situation after we get started programming the machining operations. So I'm going to hit the check mark, the green check mark, and it'll come back and it shows a generic holder here. We'll deal with that also a little later. So I'm going to hit, again, the green check mark. Then I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to do the same thing with the 1/4 inch drill. I'm going to go up here and make sure that I name it tool number 2 instead of 124. And it makes them all 2. US, so that's good there. Then our second category is our drill parameters, and I'm going to look for the 1/4 inch. Again, you can look at the diameters here as you scroll down through. I'm looking for 250. All right, and then I scroll back here, and we have a 1/4 inch taper. We have a 1/4 inch heavy duty taper. We have a heavy screw machine taper, and then we have an E jobber, and then we have a 1/4 inch jobber length. And that's what we're going to, and again, we're going to say no here. So now those values are put down here for me. I have my 1/4 inch diameter. My overall length is 3, right? And I have a cutting length of 2. It's 118 degrees down here. Shoulder length is 2.5, and the shank diameter is also 0.25. So everything looks good here. The only thing we need to do now is get our speeds and feeds set. So we'll start out here at the bottom, making sure that the material of the drill is high-speed steel. We're going to put 1200 in here for our speed. We're going to retract at 50. If it lets me do it. And plunge rate is going to be 18. They have numbers in here for you, but you have to scroll across. And I'm going to say 20 point here for the plunge rate. Plunge is when you're coming down and you're rapiding down to 100 thousandths off the part. That's what plunge means. Retract means moving from your drilled hole back up to the 100 thousandths level at 50 inches a minute. So we have a plunge rate at 20 and a retract at 50. Then the actual feed rate that I'm looking for here is going to be 20 inches a minute. Okay? So pretty much everything is set here. The surface feet per minute changes as you change these down here. Everything looks pretty good. There's nothing that we need to do down here except to make sure that it says peck here. If you notice, you have under this category, if you scroll this up, you have simple drill, which means your center drill, it's a one-shot thing, or you have peck with a retract. All right, and you have a chip breaking as well, and tapping and so on. But we're just going to look for the peck, so we know it's going to be a pecking operation. Don't need to do anything with the coolant. I'm going to hit the green check mark. It'll come back. I hit it again, and then that's taken care of. The last one is going to be our 1/2 inch drill, and we're going to make this tool number 3. 3 and 3. US. Everything looks good there. Our parameters. We're going to scroll down here and look for a 1/2 inch drill. All right. So we have a screw machine, we have jobber. So we're going to click the jobber, say no. And now all of our values come down here for this 1/2 inch drill. Our 1/2 inch diameter, 3 inch length, 2 inch cutting length, 118 degrees, shoulder length to 2.5, and 1/2 inch for the shank diameter. So everything looks good here. So we're going to go to our last category and get our speeds and feeds, clockwise direction, high speed steel, spindle speed. We're gonna say this is going to be 450 RPMs. The retract is going to be 50. The plunge rate, try to scroll all this here. Plunge rate is going to be 18. And the feed rate, most importantly, is going to be 20 inches a minute. You'll notice that all this changes up here now, your surface feed and all, and your feed per tooth changes automatically as you change these down here. This is also going to be a peck cycle, so that's already set for that. It remembers that. So we're good here. Hit the green check mark again, and now we can get out of this tool manager, and we're ready to get started with our programming portion of this. I'm going to turn this to top view, and I'm going to go ahead now and get started. It's ready for me here. It says Toolpath Group 1. So this is what this is. This will be Toolpath Group 1. So we're going to right click right here in this area here, and we're going to look for Mill Toolpaths, and it brings another drop down file here where you say drill. And notice there's a bunch of things here that you can grab certain things and not grab certain things, and I'm just going to sort of get my part down here where I can see it a little bit better. And it's asking me basically to show it where the holes are that we're going to be machining. You'll notice that this particular drawing has what's called nodes, which are small dots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the dots, okay, one at a time, by hovering over it with my mouse, and when it has a little green crosshairs, I'm going to left click on that, and that will be my first hole. I'll do the same thing here, and then I'll do the same thing here, same thing here. Notice I'm waiting until I get the little green crosshairs. And since we're going to center drill all the holes, we're going to go ahead and make sure that we chain all of them. This is Mastercam's chaining operation. You're used to its CAD-CAM. And you'll see here that it has collected all these things. Over here is basically shows us which positions we chose. This one says NA, don't let that bother you. Sometimes when you click these things, it'll put an NA down there because it's not sensing a diameter. It did sense the arc number 8. It did not sense the arc 7, so it just gave us the point indication, which is fine. We don't really need to have the arc really there anyway. All right, so we're basically good here, and we're going to hit the green check mark, okay? And now we get a file up here, and this is our technology page. This is like your Spree technology page where you have all of the things that you want to do with this part. So right now, you'll see that this drill category is grayed out. All the other ones are not. So the one that's grayed out is the one that's active. So we're going to go to Tool, and we're going to get our tool category here, and I'm going to double click on this. Actually, I don't want to double click on that. Sorry. Let me get out of that. I'm going to basically just grab it like that, make sure it's active, and then I'm going to go to Holder next, and you see it's got this same generic holder here. So I'm going to pick a different holder here, and I'm going to try to shorten this up. So I'm going to try to, this doesn't always work, but I'm going to try to put 1.5 in here, and I have to hit Enter. And it did take it. It will shorten it up, choke it up a little bit to 1.5. I don't need to go into stock, so don't click on stock, but you will need to click on cut parameters. And here you have a cycle category. You have peck drill, chip, break, tap, so on. Drill counter bore basically is a one-shot G81 move where it goes in, penetrates 200 thousandths, and gets out of there. So we're going to call it drill counter bore. We don't need to go into tool axis. If you do, you'll probably mess things up. I also noticed down here at the bottom that I had given you information earlier on that you should not have 2D here. It should not have 3D here. It should be 2D. And your top plane, your work center should be top. All these should say top so that this comes out right. So I just happened to notice that. We really should have done that at the beginning, but we didn't. Hopefully everything will work out. Then the next thing I want to go into, I don't want tool axis control. I don't want limits. I don't want whole segments. But I do want linking parameters. And this is where I put in the depth of cut and so on. Number one thing we need to do is move this to absolute, all of these. We want absolute dimensioning, not incremental. Our retract is going to be 0.1. The top of the stock is the Z0. The depth that we're going to be going is going to be minus 0.2. Now, Mastercam didn't let you put a minus in their categories, but Mastercam does. They want you to put the minus value in here. If you don't, you'll be cutting up in the air. So make sure you put 0.2 here so that it will go downwards, penetrate into Z0, 200 thousandths deep. All right, this all looks good here now. We don't need to fill any of these out, so we're just going to leave them alone. And the only other thing we have to do is to activate our coolant. So we hit coolant here and make sure we say the flood coolant is on, and then hit the green check mark. All right, so now we've created the machining operation on this. So let's go to isometric here. By left clicking on the screen, you get this window here, and you can hit, as I said, isometric to create the isometric appearance of this. And then down here at the very bottom, you have what's called the tool path, and it's the squiggly lines. If you click on that, left click on that, you'll see this category come up, which shows the tool. If you click on it, it shows the holder. If I don't want to show the holder, I can actually uncheck that and the holder will disappear. But I'll put it on for now. These are some options just for the video part of this. And then up here, you can cycle start. So if I click on this play, you'll see that it begins to put the holes in. So looking at this simulation here, it just shows you how the tool is going to move throughout the part. But this doesn't tell you, it's not like the simulation that you'll be looking for. So in Mastercam, they have a second way of simulating something like this. Actually, two different ways. If you go up here to Machine Group 1, this is all under Machine Group 1, we can click on what's called Verify. And then you're going to see a new window come up. And you'll have to expand this here, maximize it, and you'll see now that you have the same thing you had at the previous page, but this time this is under verification. So we're going to see it actually penetrate into our simulation solid here. So I'm going to move this speed bar back a little bit so it doesn't go too fast. And I'm going to push the play button, and you will see that it will go through the process of center drilling these holes. Now, if we want to see this again, we have to use these double arrow backwards, and it takes it back to start. And then we can again hit play and it'll go through the process again. So if you miss something, you can always go back and replay it and see how it looks. If you look and zoom in on this, you can see that it looks good. The last category here is is simulation. You can use backplot, but we don't really want to use that. We want to use the simulation here. And this is going to be a little more precise. So we're going to slow this down again a little bit, right? And we're going to hit play. And it just has a little different appearance than what Verify did. I'm not sure why they have three different ways of looking at something, but you see that the holes are cleaner. It looks a little better, a little more distinct. That basically is what you get when you activate simulation. Now up here, if you want to get rid of if you can click on tool components, let's say you don't want to see the holder, you can uncheck the holder and that'll disappear, and then you can replay it. Maybe the holder's in the way from you seeing things. Another thing I like to do from time to time is right click here and hit top and have my holder disappear so that I can actually see if I'm in the center of these holes. So if I play this now, I can look and see that I'm in the center of those holes. Sometimes you click if you have a crosshairs, you may not click on the center of the crosshairs and you'll be able to see in this category that you're not in the center. If you zoom in on this, you can see by just visually that I'm in the center of these. All right, I'm going to go back to isometric, and I'm going to get out of here. So I'm going to go up here to the upper right hand corner and click the close, and I'm back to my original drawing here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the drilling of the 6 holes, 1/4 inch. So I'm going to right click up here, go to Mill Tool Paths, go to Drill, and it's going to be asking me to show where I want these positions to be machined. So I'm going to go to Top View so that I can make sure that I catch the center of these holes. And I'm going to start out with this one, wait till it turns green. And I'm going to look over here, make sure everything looks good. It does. I'm going to say OK. So now my chain was created for these 6 holes, or for the holes, the 1/4 inch holes. Again, this is highlighted, so it's a drilling operation. We'll go to Tools. This time we're going to click the 1/4 inch drill, and then go to Holder, and we'll pick a little bit better holder and see if we can choke up on this to 2.5. Doesn't always work, but you have to hit enter to make it work, and it does give us the 2.5. That's good. We don't need to go to stock, but we do need to go to cut parameters. This time we're going to choose, rather than drill counterbore, we're going to hit the peck drill operation. And you see here that they're showing a peck operation here, and we put in 0.1 for our peck distance. Okay. And after you're done that, you can go to skip all this as we did before, go to linking parameters. It's going to remember some things, but not everything. And you're going to have to put a depth in here. Well, we know that the part is 1/2 inch thick, so I'd say go minus 0.625 to make sure that you're down there well past the bottom to get down here, okay, with it. And the tip comp is not activated here. Everything looks good. The coolant should still be on. It should remember that, and it does. And now I can hit the green check mark, and now we have that operation. If we want to see just that operation, we can go to isometric, and we can come over here to the tool path, squiggly line, grab that, it's not doing anything here. There it goes. I don't know why it wouldn't activate, but such is life. Now we can see the drilling operation, so we'll click the arrow here, and you'll see that it does drill. It's doing the drilling operations as we ask. And you can speed this up if you want to, or you can slow it down with the bar. Okay. All right, so it does our 6 holes. We hit OK. So I'm satisfied with that. I don't think I need to go into verification at this point. Let's get this last drill done. So again, I'm going to right click up here, Mill Tool Pass Drill, and I'm going to pick the 2 holes, the last 2 1/2 inch holes. I'll go to top. I'll hover over the center and wait till it turns green, grab it. Wait till it turns green, grab it. And I'm going to say OK. And again, my technology page comes up. I'm still in drill mode. This time I'm going to pick the 1/2 inch drill. I'm going to pick the holder, and I'm going to fix that to make it a little bit better. And I'm going to try to make this 2.5 and hit enter. And it does give it to me, so it's not so long. And we don't need stock, but we do need cut parameters. Again, it's going to be a peck drill. It remembers that. And our peck is 100,000, so that's good. We can bypass that. Go to linking parameters. Again, we're going to go down here and just fill out the depth of cut. I'm going to say minus 0.7 to make sure we get all the way through. And the coolant is already going to be activated, so we don't need to do anything else here, and hit OK. So now we can isometric this, and we can just double check to make sure that this looks good. And that all looks good. So the only other thing I want to do today for this is to go into simulation, the verification, by clicking up here at the very top so that it does all of these. If you want to, you can look at one operation alone. You could pick, one of these operations here, let's say the pec drill, and you could verify just the pec drilling operation. And there it is, right? Which I want to see the whole thing, so that's not going to help me there. I'm going to get out of there, go up to the top, machine group 1, so it collects all of these operations, and then go to verification, and then go ahead and run it through and just make sure that everything looks good. And everything looks good here. The only other thing I want to show you is how to create the code itself. So in order to get the code, you have to start up here at machine group 1, so you collect everything. And then you go over here to what's called G1. You click on G1 and this drop-down file comes up. NC is what I'm looking for, and this is all default. You want to have a .nc after the program, and I'm going to hit the green check mark, and it's going to put this under Documents, Mastercam 2026, Mastercam, Mill, NC. Mastercam has created categories for these things so they collect them and separate them in the right place. So this is good. It'll put this name in there, and I'm going to say save, and then it's going to create the code. And then you see that Mastercam likes to put different colors in here. You'll see your tools listed here. This is something that we had to manually type in a SpreeCam. Here, you don't have to. It actually puts everything in and tells you what the tools are, which is very good. A very good benefit here. G20, inch mode, G17, here's your safety line. T1 M6, G90, absolute. G54 is here. They have the S2000 that we put in there, M3, G43, H1, Z.1. So all of this is good here. And then we go down to our second tool, H2, G83, pec drilling operation, right? So everything looks good here. So we have our code that has been created. We'll show you in the future how to download this on a USB stick to put into your specific machine. All right, so I'm going to get out of this, and this is going to be it for this session. Have a good day.